What are you thinking? How do you feel?
This is my boomstick!
It's only a movie. Only a movie. Only a movie. Only a movie.
$43 million. How did a B movie that barely made its budget back from its US theatrical run go on to gross over $38 million worldwide and even be referenced 28 years later in the beloved Netflix show Stranger Things? In the 1980s, the Chiodo brothers combined their experience with producing, puppeteering, and stop motion to realize their film idea centered around a frightening concept. In their own words,
and this is the scene that was really the inception of the entire concept. What would be the most frightening image we could imagine? And it was seeing a clown driving on a dark road.
If you looked out you're looking out the driver's window and you looked over and you saw a clown in a car.
Previous to this, the brothers had no directorial experience. The Chiodo brothers were most well known for their crew's special effects work on the movie Critters. However, the brothers had plenty of experience making films growing up. And maybe more importantly, the brothers were passionate about creating what would go on to be killer clowns from outer space. The influence from another horror classic can be felt all throughout Killer Clowns from Outer Space. 1958's The Blob has an almost identical story structure to Killer Clowns, beginning with a couple on a lover's lane, witnessing something crash in the distance from space. An older man who is alone in the woods investigates the mysterious crash and becomes the first victim of both films' evil entities. The protagonists of each movie go to the local police, who are convinced the whole town is pulling an elaborate prank.
Forensic brothers have the whole town in on this?
Fans can also see similarities in how both movies absorb victims in a pink substance, the blob being the substance in that movie, and cotton candy cocoons being the pink absorbing substance in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Another parallel for both films was a very small and tight budget. The Chiodo brothers used sonotubes to create the interior of the alien clown craft. These types of set design materials made it easy for the crew to repurpose parts. Audiences are tricked into believing the Chiodo brothers made time-consuming sets, when in reality, they wisely rearranged materials from previous shots and incorporated matte paintings created by Mark Sullivan. Famously, the most expensive prop created was the popcorn gun that took 6 weeks and $7,000 to create. After being told this prop could have been created quicker for much less, the Chiodo brothers took this lesson to heart. When creating the Dr. Seuss-like vacuum machine, the Chiodo brothers used things like trash can lids, household pans, wood and tarps to create the alien machine.
If you see them on the table, they're bread baskets. If you put them on a pickup truck panel, it becomes something from outer space.
Pause the movie at any moment and witness the creativity of the Chiodo brothers. What would otherwise be seen as minimalistic and empty decoration are instead vibrant and full of life. Any scene in the alien ship is sparsely decorated with just a few pieces of wood and sonotubes. But our eyes are drawn to the whimsical and childish pinks, yellows, purples and greens that paint the foundation of the otherworldly sets. These colours toy with our emotions. Normally, pink is associated with things like compassion and love, purple with sensitivity and imagination, green with things like harmony and growth. Instead, the world of the Killer Clowns is decorated with these same colours when we as the audience feel confusion and callousness, anxiety and fear, claustrophobia and doom. For the film's climax, the inverse becomes true. Although the set is still colourful, the walls are now blackened and spread out. The King Clown, dubbed as Clownzilla, descends from the ceiling as a giant marionette. Originally, Clownzilla was intended to be stop motion, but due to budgetary restrictions, the Chiodo brothers paid homage to Godzilla, with Charles Chiodo wearing a rubber suit. Forced perspective, miniatures, and high-speed photography give the whole sequence a larger-than-life feel. Killer Clowns is adored for its Three Stooges style of comedy, the wacky weaponry, and fun score composed by John Massari, accompanied by the main theme created by the Dickies. But lingering under that playful exterior is a downright creepy horror film. The clowns lure their victims in with playful tricks and pranks, but their intentions are malicious and vulgar. At first glance, someone may think that the clowns are lifeless, oversized rubber costumes, but after watching for a few minutes, the expert craftsmanship and puppeteering cannot be ignored. Each clown flashes a sharp smile, grimaces and scowls, eyes blink, ears wiggle, and noses wrinkle. Even a simple puppet controlled by a Chiodo brother's arm looks terrifying and diabolical. The scene that always especially haunted me was when the clown, endearingly named Jumbo, shuffled playfully into the police station to confront Officer Mooney. The exchange starts off playful and cheery, but Officer Mooney becomes more irritable and aggressive towards the alien trickster. Still believing this is a practical joke, Mooney escorts Jumbo to a holding cell and bashes Jumbo over the head with a flashlight. Jumbo's expression becomes malevolent, murdering the annoyed officer with one final trick. Later in the film, Officer Dave Hansen inspects the now lifeless holding cell covered in pink cotton candy substance, with two horrid cocoons melting away the flesh of the other inmates. Jumbo tries to intimidate Officer Hansen by using Officer Mooney's deceased carcass as a flesh puppet, imitating Mooney's voice and exclaiming,
Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you.
Throughout the film, the sadistic clowns target young children, the elderly, and the defenseless. The alien clowns have only one goal: to harvest you and drink your blood. They cannot be reasoned with, they show no mercy. And worse, there is only one way to stop their reign of terror. Unlike the clowns from the movie, there is no way to stop the success of the now cult classic. While it did not dominate the box office, the VHS release by Media Home Entertainment and the re-release by MGM Home Entertainment shared the film with a new and much wider audience. The VHS cover haunted movie rental shelves and created thousands of millions of fans worldwide. The Killer Klowns universe dominates sales of toys, clothing, and headlines horror conventions and Universal theme parks for Halloween horror nights. What caused the resurgence in popularity for Killer Klowns from Outer Space? Was it nostalgia for 80s cinema? Is it because the film is a fresh and unique horror comedy film waiting to be discovered? Or maybe it was the fact that another classic horror clown, Pennywise from It, earned the title of the highest-grossing horror movie of all time just a few years ago. To me, the film's popularity is for an obvious reason. It may not be the most high-tech, the most polished, or have an Oscar-winning script, but the one thing Killer Klowns from Outer Space does have is soul, and it is all thanks to the Chiodo brothers and their team of passionate filmmakers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to get notified when the next love letter to a cinema classic drops. Check out Dread and Terror on both Instagram and Patreon to show support. We love you all so much. It's scary.